What do you think? What do you honestly think? Do you think it's a very nuanced
Hot.
question, but what do you think?
Um, you know what? I really don't think racism is gonna stop any individual person from furthering themselves in this world. I really don't think it's a factor anymore. It's not stopping me from getting a raise. It's not stopping you from getting promoted. Maybe on some individual level, there are still people who are racist
Sure.
that are out there, and if you can knock them out in the court system and prove that, do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But at least you have that opportunity to do that, to
Right.
face it and put it in the courts and let the court, you have that option now. So I really don't think racism is a factor when it comes to us moving together as individual people in this world, being a black person, or as a group of people. I really
Yeah.
don't think it's a factor. There, like I said, there are still some individuals who
Sure.
are racist. I've come across it in my profession, and you just.
But that's it. Yeah. That's
I'm
just
not as far as like where I'm employed, but I'm
Right.
just
Right.
saying in the public, you just run across people like
Right.
that, and it is what it is. Like they feel the way they feel, but it's not going to stop me from being who I want to be or what I'm going to do. And
Right.
I don't see that as a factor
Yeah.
to move forward.
Yeah. No,
Is that a lot of words?
it's not at all. That's actually a very like
I mean, it's
smooth
not.
answer. Like
It's not in depth. I mean, I didn't
no,
talk long about it, but I just really feel like
no. I mean that's to
it's
the
a
point.
simple
Like,
answer.
that's a good point. Like I would venture to say the same. See, and that's the change for me.
Yeah.
As I've grown, if you caught me in my teens and my 20s, I might have been like the number one problem for us is racism. And I've realized like as I've gotten older, the interesting thing is when I was like in my 20s, teens and 20s and if I heard someone say what you just said,
Yeah.
the first thing you'd be like, "Oh man, this person is like brainwashed or on some Uncle Tom and they don't really understand the struggle, blah 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 blah, they're
Yeah.
bougie or whatever." And that's the thing that I think that's the thing that's changing to me. I feel like it's changing for a huge group of black people. So I think that I'm going to answer the question too, is racism still a factor? Like you said, I think there's some nuanced things that affect people, of course, but you can't control who cares who likes black people, who doesn't like black people. Like it doesn't even matter at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's always people who are gonna feel a way about whatever race, and there's black people who don't like black people.
Yeah.
Everybody has their little feelings and stereotypes and blah blah blah. But the question is, like you said, is it really gonna stop you? No. I think at the end of the day, the bigger issue are things that come back to things we look in the mirror, things that we can control.
Yeah.
So we have the benefit of having like all this data to see how we got in the place we got to,
Yes.
and
We have access to information.
we have access to information. So it does make you say, you know what? Are we that liberal? Black people are that liberal? I don't really think so. If you talk to most black people are very conservative, in my opinion. And it gets to a point where it's like, what do I think about racism? I really don't think about it that much,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I don't really think about it day to day. Honestly, I think family structure is a big issue. How we see ourselves. Family is when I mean family, I don't mean just a nuclear family. I mean family working together,
Yeah.
right? So when you look at most other groups, a lot of groups, family is not just the immediate family, but family working together, cousins, brothers, sisters, grandma. A lot of people have family business and work together. So if you look at any family, especially even a black family, you look at black families who work together, they move further along. So a big power point of people in general is family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't think racism is the number one issue anymore. I think there was a time we have the benefit, you and I, we had a benefit of we don't live in a world where, you know what I'm saying? Like the experiences with someone Caucasian is really bad.
Right.
Your dad could tell some great stories. He's told me
You
some
absolutely
stories.
can.
Like some real stuff where you walk outside the house and you could someone's telling you I don't like
Yeah.
niggas or black people. Someone's telling you, but we don't live in that world anymore.
No.
You know, so I would say that no, I don't think that's the number one issue either, and I don't think it's a factor as far as personal growth in this world.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if that's where your if that's where your mindset is at, if that's I mean, there are injustices happening around the world, okay? But if you keep your mindset focused on, if that's all you see is like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't get this because of the
Right.
color of my skin, or because
Right.
they don't like my hair, or because like unless it's evident, like clearly evident,
Yeah.
that then that that is that. But
Right.
just having the mindset of things not working out for me or for you as an individual because you're black.
yeah,
No, you got to. That's not the mindset to have now.
no,
Not nowadays. It's not
Not
happening.
nowadays.
It's not nowadays.
Yeah.
So you gotta if you want to have more growth, I think, in your life, or if you want to just develop personally and professionally, it all starts with your mindset. You got to see how certain things are affecting you in your life. It starts with how you think.
yeah,
How are you thinking?
yeah, absolutely. It
Because
starts
when
with
you
yourself,
it
man.
starts with yourself,
It starts with
honestly.
yourself.
And
It starts with yourself. You know, you had me thinking because I'm like, you know what? It really does start with yourself because you know what? The idea of quote unquote racism can get so far. We live in this as black people. We live in this country where we really have to fight with the nuances of life. That idea that something is happening to you because you're black, that can really permeate your mind to a point where you see it in everything.
you see it in everything.
In everything you do, you feel like
That's what it is.
and you can get into that point where you like a victim all the time.
Yes.
And we're not having that no more. I just feel like a certain group of us, we're not having it no more. We changing. And part of changing is the next part of where we're going to get to.
I'm
The
excited.
mirror. We got to look in the mirror,
Oh,
yo.
yes.
We have to look in the mirror. And that's how I think I become more conservative, right? Because
Personal responsibility.
personal responsibility. So what?
Not relying on the government to fix everything.
Oh, the government can't fix nothing.
They ain't gonna fix
They can't
nothing
fix nothing.
in your personal life.
They can't fix anything.
And for your personal
You know,
growth.
You know, you can't fix anything. And and that's why like when I look at the whole political thing about Democrat and Republican and all that, I look at that and I say, you know what? That's why every couple of years the Democrats push this they push the racism thing. They talk about neo-Nazi skinheads and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. That really is not top of
They
the
living
issue.
back in the day. Back in the day.
And they push this thing like, it's still the racism and create equal opportunity. The first black this. Like at the end of the day, let's be honest. That's not the number one problem. The mirror, we have to look at the mirror, and that's what I do love. I'm very optimistic is that a lot of us are starting to say, you know what? What are some things we have going on in our culture? We talked about fatherlessness is a huge conversation all across the internet. There's plenty of channels talking about fatherhood. Now, it kind of leaks into the whole. There is a lot of noise as far as black men versus black women. That's crazy. That's maybe a whole nother show.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Right? It's a whole nother show, but there's a huge conversation about the father aspect, the family aspect. Everybody's talking about that because they realizing that that's important. It's not about the racist cop and all this stuff. Yeah, these things have happened as far as the police, but again, even the police killings, they're not the top of the things that's messing up our culture.
Yep.
It's not having that family, and then like we talked about, also it's the fact of being too complacent and not making enough sacrifices and not working together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that lack of
that
workability, you have to take personal accountability for too. We have a lot of, there's some toxic masculinity going on, and there's some toxic femininity going on. You know, there's a lot of those two. I mean, because those two relationships, it's not gonna thrive. You're not gonna have a happy and peaceful and workable relationship that way.
No.